slow before you go to Temuco. Watch this video for all you must know. Hola, buen día. Hoy estoy en Temuco, Sud Chile, south of Chile, el capital of the Araucanía. Temuco is a city at the north of the Chilean Patagonia region, the foothills of the Andes. However, if you were picked up from wherever you are at the moment and dropped in the middle of Temuco, there would be no way of you knowing that it is in such a nature-filled area as the city itself. It's quite polluted and densely populated, I would say. Not the prettiest city I've ever been to. I can see some sort of conkers behind me in this tree already, so that's already a slight improvement. I'm going on a free walking tour of Temuco today, and these are the people on the tour with me. Oh yes, nobody. Gonna get no tips for this today. But let's have a look around and see what Temuco is really like. And I'm starting off the day beside this main road with loud traffic behind me. At Parque Urbano y la Cautin. So there's a park in the city here on the riverfront. I'm gonna have a look inside, but it definitely looks not as green as you'd expect from a park. I am in a sort of greener area now, and there's some nice big pine trees behind me. You can see, and a bit of a green area. I'm gonna be walking up this path towards the riverfront. So I've walked to the other side of the park, and it's probably the biggest memorial I've seen up to this point. The whole memorial stretches this whole sort of short waterfront, this narrow waterfront behind me. There's also some quite interesting birds here with really long beaks. This stretch of memorial here behind me is in memory of the human rights coming into place in Temuco in Chile. So I'm just leaving the park now. It's really quiet in this park. There's probably more, or maybe the same amount of gardeners as there were people walking in there. And luckily I didn't come on a Monday, because I just saw a sign saying cerrado el lunes, closed on a Monday. In front of me now I can see a big bridge, and this bridge has a funny name. It's there, and it's quite interesting architecture, and that is on the river. I'm just trying to find out a way to get there really, because it looks like I'm in some sort of abandoned sort of parking lot. Apart from a few cars, there's like some broken down vehicles at the other end. I think I have to walk a bit back towards the main road that way in order to go around towards the bridge over there. This place reminds me a little bit of Cagliari in Sardinia, in terms of the outskirts there. There's some sort of abandoned graffiti buildings. I'll just show you over here. This building here. Not really sure what's going on over here. This is obviously still part of the park, I think, or maybe just on the outskirts. Cars coming off a sort of lorry, and there's some workers on top of that building. I've just been looking at the roads here. It's quite a big main road, and I'm not going to risk walking up it. So this is probably the best view I'm going to get without officially crossing the bridge. So this bridge is the first asymmetrical cable-stayed bridge in Chile, and it was built in 2021, and the name of it is Puente Treng y Puente Treng y, and here it is. It connects Temuco to Padre Los Casas, which is another sort of communal area on the other side of the river, literally just on the other side of the bridge. I thought while I was walking around here, I just saw a cow with wheels and a windscreen and wing mirrors, but it's not a cow. There's actually charity shops in Temuco with maybe rats, definitely flies, where you can pick up stuff for free, like this behind me. And maybe the best option here is this spade, which doesn't come with the end of the spade that is known as being part of a spade. There is, I've just noticed, inside the park, a small sort of AstroTurf football pitch here. Looks like there's just 4 young boys training on it. Maybe Ross Stewart's doing his rehab here in South Chile. Another drop-off point for your used clothing. And another very weird sort of graffiti-filled area, circle, half semicircle behind me. Really weird. I need to cross this bridge over that direction. I can see a sort of little dirt path there, but I think I've got to climb over that fence, or I walk down about 50 meters that way and walk back up. Kind of debating which one to do. I decided to do the latter, so I could get a better panoramic view of this lovely monument behind me with graffiti. Don't have a clue what this is signifying or supposed to do. On top of the four-seam bridge, and you can see some of the tin-roofed housing, the sort of maybe poorer housing, with the greatest of respect here in Temuco. And on the other side, you see more of a green landscape. Just crossing this road called Arturo Prat for the English speakers. Oh, there's not long to cross this road. Probably 10-15 seconds. Yeah, not the only Prat here in Temuco, and I'm speaking about myself. But that's how long I had to cross. But I'm now in another sort of square slash park. This is obviously a lot smaller, but it's actually seems quite amicable here. Some more conkers in the trees. This one is called Manuel Regabarn, and this is what the toilet looks like. Not much going on here in this square. Not very densely populated. Apart from these two monuments behind me with no plaques on them to signify what they relate to, and I don't recognise their faces. So I'm now going to be walking to the most touristic square in Temuco, which is around a 5-10 minute walk up the road from here. So I'm now in the central square. You can probably see it's a lot busier here in the centre of Temuco, and lots of big buildings around this centre square. You've got the Bank of Chile, there's another Santander bank down that road. Got this stretch of sort of, I think, fruit and vegetable markets, maybe other stuff going on. And just at the end there, I don't know if you can see that cross, is a cathedral. Now I think the cathedral actually has a bigger building next to it, which is part of the cathedral. Oh yeah, almost looks like a skyscraper office building. Here's some of the fruits and vegetables here behind me. Just some simple carrots and greens. There's actually more fruits and vegetables near towards the urban bus station than here. The rest of the market is sort of plants and herbs by the looks of things. And this is what I meant by the building attached to the cathedral. So this is the main entrance to the cathedral, and I think this is part of it as well. Go and have a look. So I'm not sure if the cathedral's open, as nobody's walked in it whilst I've been walking towards it. So just before I go in, I'll see if anyone goes in. I did check the times beforehand. Apparently it closes between 1:30 and 3. It's around 1 o'clock at the moment. And behind me here you can see two big cows. Well, you can probably only see one carrying this. I think it's crudos. I'm not 100% sure what that is. So it looks like that tall building does have a cross on it. So maybe I was right, it's part of the cathedral. I'm gonna walk in, well, I'm gonna try and walk in through this door. It looks slightly ajar from here. So I'm at the front of the cathedral now, and you can see the large Jesus cross in the middle there, and it does also bend to the right through here. I'm not sure if I'm allowed in there. It almost looks a bit closed, gated off, so I'm gonna go and give it a go. Hola.
Hola.
Este es, lo siento, no hablo mucho español. ¿Catedral?
Sí.
¿Solo aquí? ¿O este es grande edificio? ¿Aquí es catedral también?
¿El de acá?
Sí, el grande edificio.
No.
Sí, este.
No.
No catedral, solo este.
Sí, edificio comercial.
Ah, sí.
Sí.
¿Oficina?
Sí.
Ah, entiendo. Catedral es aquí.
Sí, esta es la catedral.
Gracias, muchas gracias. Got the answer. This is an office building to my left here, with my dodgy Spanish, at least I'm pretty sure. This cathedral was built in 1991, replacing an old cathedral that collapsed in an earthquake in the 1960s. In fact, on the actual year 1960. So I'm back in the market square now. You can see lots of these stalls behind me, and I'm actually going to be going into this tourist information box, which is very small here behind me, and see if I have to pay for an urban bus in advance, or actually I want to pay in advance, if I can pay in advance, or if I have to pay on the day. Con el buses urbano, ¿necesito comprar boleto en el día que yo viajo o es posible adelantarlo en advance, antes?
Puede ser de las dos formas. Ahora, si quiere asegurar el asiento,
Sí.
es conveniente que vaya a sacar el pasaje antes.
Bueno,
De anticipación.
bueno, es posible antes.
Sí.
Ok, muchas gracias.
Bueno,
Buen día.
que le vaya bien.
I didn't even half know what I was asking myself there. I kind of forgot the word in advance. I think it's adelantado or something like that. I should have just said antes, which is before, but I did clarify at the end, es posible comprar antes, and she said yes, so I should be able to buy before. The reason I asked that, there's some big sort of, I was going to say palm trees, but there's some fruits growing on them as well. The reason I was asking is because I want to go to some of the small villages near Temuco. Look how thick these trees are, and then you probably can't see the fruits. Yeah, you probably can, the sun is beaming off those fruits there. Not sure what fruit it is, it looks green. And behind me here is I said behind me? No, just to my left here. It's a monument in the middle of the central park. And having read this plaque behind me, I think this monument is signifying the traditional indigenous culture of the Mapuches here. Now walking towards the central market, and you can see some more fruit stalls behind me. Oh, some nice live music going on here as well. I'm not sure the name of the street, but it's right by the central market. Kind of green monuments in the middle of the street. You're also better off buying your fruit and vegetables from these street vendors. For example, just at that one there were 4 cucumbers for 1,000, which is around 90p. In the supermarket you'll pay at least 700 for one, so that's what, 2,800 for 4? The busy street with lots of buses to my left and right. The reason I came here is because of the market that I previously mentioned, the mercado, but it turns out this is where it should be, and it looks like it's almost burnt down. Is another angle of the aforementioned market. I have noticed in Temuco, it's probably after travelling through 8 countries in South America, blueberries, well actually berries in general, they are most available here in Temuco, having travelled through the whole right hand side of South America. There's lots of green grapes here in Temuco as well. Those crocs seem like a pretty good price, around £1, £2, £3, something like that. This building, or maybe this building, or maybe this building, or maybe this building, or maybe that one over there, is the former house of Pablo Neruda, a famous Chilean poet. He won the 1971 Nobel Prize in Literature, and from the tourist information I got given a map that says it's somewhere on the street, but just some crappy street to be honest. Maybe it's on the other side. Maybe it's one of those, I don't think so. Yeah, don't have a clue. But I presume on this street Pablo Neruda lived. Some sort of butcher here. I'm just coming into sort of the wrong end of town by the looks of things. Near the urban bus station. Oh, there's quite a nice market here, let's have a walk through. There's some sort of old containers being used as the wall for this shop here, and some nice colours painted on the left to make it look more intriguing. Looks like this market goes indoors as well. Looks like that's where the fruit and fish is being sold. You can smell it. Here's the fruit and here's the fish. Here's the aforementioned green grapes behind me. Lots of mussels and shellfish for sale in Chile, in my experience so far. And there's a nice sort of mosaic of a fish here behind me. The meat section is in the middle of the market, and you can see it all hanging up on the sides here, the fresh meat, carnitas. And it looks like on this side of the market is where you can actually buy some sort of fresh/fast food. So I head into the front side where I think they're selling cheeses and honeys here behind me. A very big market here in Temuco. I've just exited this side, and it looks like there's a similar sized one on the other side. Lots and lots of fresh produce here. Look at the colours. The colours of the tomatoes, the greens, the yellows of the lemons, the dark browns of the avocados. Feria Pinto is probably most likely the name of this market, having read that. So I've just left the market now, I've turned left. It's really quite busy here and quite noisy. I'd liken that market slightly to the market in Cayenne in French Guiana, although this one's at least double the size. And I'm just walking now. I shouldn't really be walking on the main road because the pollution is quite bad here. The world's worst air. It's not in Beijing, it's not in New Delhi, it's here, where I am in Temuco. Lots of the residents here are forced to burn cheap, wet firewood and leaves to keep warm in the winter. This creates soot and microscopic particles here in Temuco, and the reason it's one of the most polluted cities in the world is because of the wood smoke. It's for that reason, especially during the winter, Temuco ranks right near the bottom in the relegation zones, like Southampton this year, for air quality in the world. And 35% of deaths here in Temuco have been attributed to cardiovascular and respiratory issues. So, Temuco, one of the most populated cities on this planet, was founded in 1881 after the area was ceded by Araucanian Indians by signing a treaty on the nearby hill with Chile. The development of the city, if you can call it development, has been helped by the arrival of Germans here in Temuco. For example, there is a hospital called Clínica Alemana, the main hospital here in Temuco. Clínica Alemana in English means the German clinic. That pretty much wraps up my video here in Temuco, the capital of the Araucanía region in the south of Chile. I'm on another polluted road here. So along with the wood burning, the roads here are also quite, well, the air doesn't feel very clean. You can see the high-rise buildings behind me. It is, yeah, not the most pleasant city. Having said that, some areas are very nice, and I plan to, in a separate video, make a video on a walk through the Cerro, where the previously mentioned treaty was signed, as apparently there's a nice hike up there. Wow, that's a loud beep. We're crossing the road. Apparently there's a nice hike up the Cerro, up the hill. So I'm going to be making a short video on that.